Even when I've left, I do right by you. I'll be your everything, your blue sky. I go to war, I'll fight. Damn right. Even when I've left, I do right by you. I'll be your everything.
And we are live. Welcome back to the Professional Stepdad Show. I am your host, Franco Zavala, episode 69. As you can see, got a little bit of a different setup here today. My wife got me this amazing new mic for my birthday that just passed, so I'm going to be trying it out. A little bit more complicated, but the sound quality will be so much better. I can already tell just through the headphones alone. Same exact mic Joe Rogan used. I saw it when the latest episode, and I was like, oh, I got to have it. If you have not, please like, subscribe, share. Bigger the platform, more people that I can reach, of course, when it comes to stepdads, when it comes to step parenting. The objective, of course, is just to positively influence stepdads on a global scale, to help them, get to a point in their family and in their life where they can really start to see not only wins, but they can start to feel that overall excitement about not only stepping into a new family, but being accepted by their new family. So today's episode is going to be a little bit of a winging it type thing, only because, like I said, I haven't really, been trying to set all this other stuff up. We went on vacation. And I had a couple of people on my social media who were asking me like, why don't you put more videos out? Why don't you start doing more stuff? I want to. Trust me, I do. But my oldest daughter just got engaged. My second oldest daughter is getting ready to go off to college. My third oldest daughter just had her birthday and she turned 16. Just busy, we're busy, and I want to make sure that as excited as I am to share the information with all the stepdads, it's more important to me to make sure that I'm there for the kids, that I'm there for the moments. And that absolutely supersedes this show. That absolutely supersedes the information being sent out to stepdads that are in need. But, we can parlay that into today's episode about taking time for yourself. One of the things that we do as stepdads is especially within the first few months, we tend to go all in on the kids, or we tend to go all in on trying to gain the respect and admiration of everybody in the house, that we forget about ourselves. We forget about what makes us happy. We forget about maybe it's a hobby that we do, whether it's hunting or playing a sport. Maybe it's creating, writing, whatever it may be. We know that these are the things that kind of wake us up. These are the things that motivate us, and these are the things that keep us going, especially in moments where we feel down, we don't feel needed, we don't feel valued, and we don't feel wanted. These are things that we can fall back on. But if we lose that about ourselves, if we lose those tiny little qualities that define us, those things that really kind of just spark our fire, if we lose that about ourselves, then, we can and will spiral into a little bit of a dark place, because think about it. Put yourself in a scenario where you have been busting your ass for the last 6 months, really putting in the work with the kids, with your spouse, and you fail to pay attention to you, whether it's your health, whether if you started drinking more, whether maybe you found yourself being a little bit more lazy than you wanted to be. You weren't writing, you weren't creating, you weren't even doing stuff outside that brings you joy and happiness. Maybe it's gardening, I don't know. But we go all in for 6 months, and then we don't see any real return. As a matter of fact, sometimes it can get worse. Sometimes we can find ourselves in a position where we're like, what the fuck am I doing here, right? And excuse me. And when that happens, when we have those losses on that side of the street, when we have those losses where we don't feel like we're needed, valued, and wanted, we have to be able to fall back on something that still brings us joy. Now, is that saying that like our kids and our spouse doesn't bring us joy? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying, for me, I'll give you best example. For me, it's basketball. I love playing it so much that I go out of my way to make sure that I get there. This is a place, this is my sanctuary. This is my anchor. This is the place that I need to go in order to center myself, or maybe even refocus This is a place where I need to go let out frustrations or worries or pain, anxiety. I can talk to my other friends that I play basketball with. I can open up about things that are going on about my life. And if I lose that about me, I can tell you that it can take me into dark places like any other man, like any other person. And I know this because when I got injured, when I hurt my knee or when I had Achilles surgery, I couldn't play. And it was really just, it was eating at me. So I want to make sure that we place real value on taking time for ourselves, that we place real value on separating ourselves from our situation, from our all in, I'm going to be the very best stepdad I can be, hero type shit. And we take that step back and we enjoy the moments that are going to wake us up, that are going to bring us joy, that are going to fill a void, that are whatever it may be for you. Let out frustration. Maybe it's just the play. It's just the pure love of the sport for me, right? I love to write, but basketball supersedes everything that I do when it comes to something that I need to do. And that's not saying that I don't go hang out with friends or I don't go do things, because I do. I play poker. I go to guys' weekends with golf and stuff, but all that is fun. But basketball is, I look forward to it. So if you can find your anchor, find that thing that keeps you going in the dark times, and taking time for yourself will be how you tap into that anchor. And when you fail to do that, right? If you fail to, that's what I'm looking for. If you fail to keep that in your life, put that, in your life backpack. If you fail to have that at the ready when you need it, you can find yourself in some dark places. So you need to make sure that you're communicating that with your spouse, by the way. You need to make sure that they know what your anchor is, that they know what your release is, that the thing that you need to do. Because when they see, because trust me, they can tell. When they see that you are not you, when you're not being you, they'll be able to talk to you and communicate with you and say, listen, I think you need to go do, and then fill in the blank on whatever your anchor is. So make sure you're communicating that. It's important. It's important to take the time for yourself. It's important to have the quiet moments as stepdads, because it can get hectic, right? It can get really, really, really hectic. It can get us to a point where we feel overwhelmed. And when we lose ourselves, the thing that makes us, when we lose that sense of being overwhelmed will be magnified tenfold. So just make sure that you are taking that time to read the books, to work out, to go for a walk, to go golfing, to play basketball. Make sure you are taking that time for you. It's very important. It's very important for your mental health, and not a lot of talk about mental health when it comes to anything, right? Unless it's used in some sort of a negative, like on TV type way. But the mental factors that, the mental health that comes with being a stepdad is big, because we are not only dealing with the pressures and the anxieties of the other family members, of the bio parents, but we are dealing with the pressures and anxieties that we're giving ourselves because we hold ourselves to a certain standard, especially when you go all in. I can honestly say that there are a lot of stepdads out there that say they're holding themselves to this specific standard, but they have that one foot out the door, and those standards can easily be swayed, and they can be bent, and they can be broken. And that's a problem. You got to make sure you stick to those standards. And that's a lot of pressure, right? Because you're wanting to be this role model, this mentor, this teacher, this somebody that they can depend on and count on. But you make sure that you do that for you too. It's important. And do that shit for you too. You have to. It's important. You have to take the time for yourself. Take the moments for you. So, I know this is kind of like a off the hip type thing episode, but I think it's important to know these little things, because we forget it. Guys, we forget it because we are so focused on trying to make everyone else happy and to get everybody else to value us and to get everybody else to respect us, that we forget who we are and what makes us unique. Remember, I've said this hundreds of times. You're a stepdad that stepped into a family. You're unique. You are unique. You ran towards a battle that most men would sprint away from. because you knew you had something to offer. And that's big. Don't lose sense of who you are. Make sure that you're doing it to maintain that mental stability and that mental focus. So when times do get real bad, or when things don't go your way, because you've taken those moments for you, they won't seem as bad. And it's a lot easier said than done. It is. It's a lot easier said than done. But they won't seem as bad because you've released some of that tension and you've tapped into the thing that brings you joy. Again, hashtag asterisk at the bottom. I'm not saying your family doesn't bring you joy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there's that thing for me, basketball. It's another side of me that just I'm able to get things out of, but I take the time for myself. I have to. So do you. Okay, guys, episode 69, The Professional Stepdad. If you have not, please again, like, subscribe, share, Spotify, YouTube, iTunes. I'm going on Anchor. I promise I'm getting there. Thinking about just converting a lot of these episodes into blogs. Let me know. I'm curious. But again, thank you guys so much. 100 episodes by the end of the year. It's a goal. Good goal to have. But take that time for yourself. We'll talk to you soon.
Damn right. Even when I've left, I do right by you. I'll be your everything.
Quiet on the set, please. Thank you, everybody.